Hey guys, so here's the notes for 7.4 day 2. We are graphing logarithms. Okay, so as we said, the logarithm is the inverse of an exponential. So when it's an inverse, that means it reflects over the line y equals x, as we can see. So if our exponential was a growth, so where b is greater than 1, if it reflected, this would be our logarithm here. I'm going to do it in red. So what's in red? That's our log. Okay. If we had in which our exponential was a decay, so that means that our graph was, so our b was in between 0 and 1, as it says, then reflecting over the line y equals x, here would be our logarithm. Now, when we graphed exponentials had a horizontal asymptote. Here, with logarithms, we are going to have a vertical asymptote. And how we write that equation is going to be x equals, and our default is going to be at 0. Okay? So that means when we get into our transformations, it is going to be the h value that affects our asymptote. Now let's talk about domain and range. Now remember, because a log is an inverse of an exponential, the domain and range switch. Remember, with exponentials, the domain for all of them was negative infinity to positive infinity. Well, now that domain becomes the range on our logarithm. So the range for all logarithms is going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. And we can see that because we are going to hit both the negative and positive values of y. Same thing over here. We're going to hit all the positive and all the negative y values. So that means your domain is going to be affected by the asymptote. So it is always going to go to positive infinity. We will never have our logarithm on the left-hand side of our asymptote. The log will always be on the right-hand side. So we go from the asymptote to positive infinity. Okay. Okay, I'm going to add another page here. You might want to write this down. This is kind of just a summary here. So with exponential functions, okay, horizontal asymptote, so that will be y equals a number, okay? And so the domain is always negative infinity to positive infinity, while the range affected by asymptote, and if it is, well, we'll just say it's affected by the asymptote. Okay. Now, for logs, though, it has a vertical asymptote. So that's going to be x equals a number. The default would be x equals 0. Well, for the horizontal, it will be y equals 0. And then the domain is affected by the asymptote. And then our range is negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay. So there's just some comparisons so you guys kind of remember the difference. Okay, so in our next video, we're going to talk about how do we actually graph logarithmic functions. So make sure you watch part 2 of our 7.4 day 2 notes.